Imagine a place where the air smells faintly of hay and pine, and every sunrise comes with the soft echo of hooves in the distance. Welcome to Ocala, a hidden pocket of Florida, known as the horse capital of the world. But here is the twist. It is also one of the last places in the state where you can still find homes that feel like a bargain in a world of soaring real estate prices. Now picture yourself driving through winding country roads shaded by mossy oaks. The fields stretch endlessly dotted with white fences and elegant stables. Thoroughbreds graze lazily in the golden light. This is not some distant countryside far from civilization. This is Ocala, and yet it feels like a slower, calmer version of Florida, where you can still breathe and dream. What makes it magical is how the cost of living contrasts with its beauty. While much of Florida has been swept up in a storm of expensive coastal property, Ocala has quietly remained grounded. Median home prices here are often lower than the state average, giving first-time buyers a rare chance to actually own land, not just walls and a roof. People are realizing they do not need to sacrifice quality of life for affordability. And this town proves that you can get a small ranch-style house or even a few acres without draining your life savings, and that freedom changes everything. There's also something healing about living here. You're surrounded by nature and animals. The pace is gentle. Instead of traffic noise, you hear the rhythm of hooves, and birdsong. Mornings start with golden fog rolling over the pastures. Evenings glow as the sun sets behind the live oaks. It reminds you to slow down, to savor things, to build a life instead of constantly chasing one. And while it feels rural, Ocala still gives you everything you need: good schools, local shops, cozy cafes, and just a short drive to bigger cities or the beaches if you want them. Ocala is a place where you can plant roots, breathe deeply, and create a life that feels whole. It is proof that you can have serenity without isolation and space without overspending, and maybe, just maybe, that is what makes it so rare today. Imagine walking down quiet brick streets lined with moss-draped oaks where time seems to have paused somewhere in the mid-20th century. This is Palatka, a small riverfront town in northeast Florida that still carries the soul of old Florida. Before the high rises and traffic, before the endless waves of tourists, it is the kind of place where neighbors wave from their porches, and the biggest noise you hear might be the whistle of a distant train or the rustling of the St. John's River breeze. What makes Palatka special is how untouched it feels, like a postcard from another era. There are historic homes with wraparound porches, colorful little storefronts that have survived generations, and a calmness that feels almost forgotten in the modern world. And yet, despite its charm, it remains remarkably affordable. While many Florida towns have watched their housing prices soar, Palatka has stayed grounded here. You can find a real house with a yard for the cost of a cramped apartment in most of the state. For first-time buyers or anyone chasing simplicity, this is rare gold. Life in Palatka moves slowly, and that is its secret strength. Mornings might start with a walk along the riverfront trail where the mist hangs low over the water, or a stop at a local diner where the same waitress has known everyone for years. Afternoons could be spent kayaking the river, exploring nearby springs, or just sitting on a porch swing listening to cicadas. It is a lifestyle built not on rushing, but on savoring, and that simplicity can be deeply healing. Even though it feels small, town Palatka is not cut off from the world. Larger cities like St. Augustine and Gainesville are less than an hour away, so you can dip into the bustle when you want, but come home to quiet when you're done. It is the kind of place where you can actually afford to breathe, to build a life instead of just paying for one. Palatka proves that Florida is not all glitz and crowds. Some corners still offer space, serenity, and old world charm without draining your savings. It is a place where you can slow down, stretch out, and still have money left to dream. Tucked away in the center of the Florida Peninsula, Sebring feels like a secret the rest of the state forgot about. While the coasts fight over tourists and soaring property values, this small lakeside town keeps quietly offering a slower, simpler way of life at prices that are almost unbelievable for Florida. Here, the cost of living stays low, and houses often list for half what you would find on the beaches, yet the quality of life feels rich and full. Sebring circles around the calm blue waters of Lake Jackson, a huge clear lake that becomes the backdrop of everyday life. Mornings might start with a peaceful walk along the lakeshore where the sun paints gold across the water and fishermen cast lines from quiet docks. Afternoons could mean kayaking, exploring nearby state parks, or grabbing lunch at a local diner where everyone seems to know your name. It is the kind of place where time stretches out and the rush of the outside world fades away. What surprises many people is how affordable Sebring really is. While much of Florida has raced ahead with skyrocketing real estate, Sebring's market has stayed gentle. You can find well-kept houses with yard for the price of tiny condos in the big cities. Even lakefront properties can sometimes be found at prices that feel like they belong in another decade, making it one of the best-kept secrets for anyone dreaming of Florida. Life on a budget. Despite its small-town charm, Sebring is not isolated. Larger cities like Orlando and Tampa sit about 90 minutes away, close enough for day trips or weekend getaways, but far enough that you never bring their noise home at night. Here, you can enjoy quiet sunsets over the lake instead of traffic noise and crowded beaches. Sebring also has a quiet, creative spirit, with local art galleries, antique shops, and community events scattered through its historic downtown. And when winter comes, while much of the country shivers, Sebring stays warm and bright under endless blue skies. For anyone searching for a place to slow down, stretch their money, and still soak in Florida's sunshine, Sebring might be the answer. It shows that peaceful lakeside living and affordability can still exist together if you know where to look. Inverness sits tucked within the rolling greenery of Central Florida, a place where Spanish moss drapes from trees and the air feels softer, slower, and less rushed than almost anywhere else in the state. This is the kind of town where mornings start with quiet walks along the lakeside and afternoons end with friendly waves from neighbors sitting on their porches. It is a slice of Florida that has somehow remained untouched by the frenzy of skyrocketing prices and overcrowded development. Homes here remain refreshingly affordable, especially compared to coastal hotspots. While much of Florida has seen prices rise dramatically over the past few years, Inverness has stayed grounded. You can still find cozy single-family houses for prices that seem frozen in time, many with spacious yards and shaded by tall old trees. It is not unusual to see tidy 3-bedroom homes listed for less than what a studio apartment costs. In Orlando or Tampa, this makes Inverness especially appealing for first-time home buyers, retirees on fixed incomes, or anyone who just want a slower, simpler life. Inverness also offers an easy connection to nature, lakes, and waterways surround the area, and the Withlacoochee State Trail, a long paved path for biking and walking, runs right through town. Weekends are often spent fishing, kayaking, or exploring nearby wildlife preserves. Yet despite its peaceful rural feel, Inverness has the everyday conveniences people need. There are local shops, grocery stores, medical offices, and small restaurants that make life comfortable and connected without the chaos of big city sprawl. Life here moves at a gentler rhythm. People have time to talk to each other, to know their neighbors, to breathe. The stress that defines so much of modern life seems to melt away in the warm quiet of this town. And yet, if you ever need the excitement, the larger city, Tampa and Orlando are both just over an hour away, close enough for a day trip, but far enough not to disturb the calm. For anyone searching for a place in Florida where the cost of living has not spiraled out of reach, and where life still feels grounded and human, Inverness stands as a quiet beacon. It is proof that the dream of owning a home in Florida on a reasonable budget is still alive here among the lakes, the pines, and the peaceful rhythm of small-town life. Lake City rests in the northern part of Florida, where the pine forests stretch for miles, and the pace of life slows to something calmer, something that feels like Florida decades ago. This is a town that blends small-town friendliness with just enough development to make daily life easy without the constant noise and competition that come with bigger cities. The biggest surprise about Lake City is how affordable it still is. While much of Florida has seen relentless price surges, Lake City has remained steady, and accessible homes here often cost far less than in the state's coastal or urban centers. It's not unusual to find well-kept 3-bedroom houses for what some people pay in rent elsewhere in Florida, making it one of the most budget-friendly places left in the state for families, young couples, or retirees who want space without breaking the bank. Beyond the prices, Lake City has a strong sense of community. People know their neighbors here, and that creates a certain comfort, a sense of belonging that's rare these days. It's a place where local diners still thrive, where high school football games bring the whole town together, and where you can actually slow down enough to appreciate life. Geographically, Lake City is perfectly placed. It sits at the junction of major highways, which means day trips to bigger cities like Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and Gainesville are easy and quick, yet when you return home, the quiet sets and again the streets are lined with oaks and the nights are still and star-filled, far removed from the chaos of larger cities. Nature lovers will also find plenty to love here. The nearby Ichetucknee Springs offer clear, cold water perfect for tubing and kayaking, and several state parks surround the area, making outdoor adventures an easy weekend tradition. Lake City might not be the flashy Florida you see in travel brochures, but that's what makes it appealing. It's real, it's stable, and it's affordable for anyone trying to escape skyrocketing home prices without giving up the Florida lifestyle. Lake City offers one of the last remaining opportunities to do so, a peaceful town with deep roots and a cost of living that still makes sense. Brooksville rests quietly in the rolling hills of Hernando County, just a short drive from the Gulf Coast, yet far removed from the frantic pace of Florida's major cities. This is old Florida countryside, dotted with horse farms, oak canopies, and historic homes that whisper stories of the past. And tucked within this serene setting is one of the state's most overlooked housing markets, where prices remain remarkably low compared to the state's coastal boomtowns. Homes in Brooksville are often surprisingly affordable, especially considering the space and character they offer. You can still find charming single-family houses with yard for the price of small condos elsewhere in Florida. Many come with porches, big shade trees, and enough land to breathe and stretch out. It's the kind of place where people can realistically own a home without being crushed by endless mortgage payments, and that alone makes Brooksville stand out in today's market. Life here is quiet, but not isolated. The town has just enough of everything to make daily living simple: grocery stores, cafes, local shops, and a historic downtown lined with antique stores and brick buildings that glow in the late afternoon sun. It has character, it has texture, and it moves at a pace that lets you actually enjoy living rather than just racing through it. What really sets Brooksville apart, though, is its natural beauty. Hills are rare in Florida, yet here they rise gently around town, giving the area a sense of depth and calm that feels worlds away from the flat grid of most Florida suburbs. Nature trails snake through forests nearby, springs offer cold, clear water, and the Gulf beaches are within reach for weekend trips, making Brooksville a quiet retreat that still connects to the rest of the state. For anyone looking to buy a home in Florida without draining their savings, Brooksville offers a rare combination of low-cost charm and tranquility. It's not a place chasing hype or rapid development, and that's its strength. It has managed to stay rooted, steady, and human. While much of Florida has spun into a frenzy of speculation and sprawl, here you can find space, peace, and affordability all in one place.